Afternoon in Bali. Today, I wanted to share with you something that has probably made the biggest impact on my success today. And it's something that, I'm just going to get a drink, it's something that many people forget to focus on. And yet, it's the biggest variable in your business, the biggest variable. Do you know what the biggest variable of your business is? If you've been training with Trent and I, you'll probably know this answer, but I'm keen to hear from those listening today. What do you think is the number one variable in your business? Can you type in the chat box below? I'm keen to see what some of the answers are. What have we got? Hi from Mogamata, freezing Melbourne, Bali, good. So yeah, please tell me in the chat box, I think there's about a 1 minute delay, what do you think is the biggest variable in your business? You, me? Absolutely. Absolutely. It's you, it's me, it's ourselves. So it's our mindset. How we show up, the mindset that we choose to have, the way that we look at our business, the belief that we have in ourselves is what is the biggest variable in our business. So it's the very thing that will cause us to have success or never reach our success, to live our potential or to only talk about our potential but never realize it, to back ourselves and actually allow ourselves permission to chase our dreams, or to be stuck in the starting gate wondering what if and growing frustrated and just shelving our dreams. So our mindset, and if you think about that, if you think about mindset as the biggest variable in your business, it's something that's so important to have a strategy around. Just like we have a strategy for marketing, and we have a strategy for operations, and we have our business plan. We need a plan for ourselves. We need a plan for this too. And so that's what I wanted to talk about just in the next 10 minutes, a short but a fun workshop on mindset. And I'll do a Q&A on the end as well, because I always love Q&As. But first of all, I wanted to tell you a story. Some of you will know the story, but I just wanted to share a little bit about my story with my growth mindset, just in a bid to paint the picture of where I started from. Because we don't always, I always say I'm a 14-year overnight sensation. It took a lot to get here, but I think it's really important to remember where you've come from and to look at some of the lessons that you learn along the way. So I just wanted to share a few of those as they apply to mindset today. Sound good? All right, so 14 years ago, I was defeated after a huge failure where I lost almost my entire life savings. I had no plan B. I had next to no money. I lost, 6 figures, and I was left with $10,000 to my name. I had no next steps, and I was in a country that was foreign, that was new to me, far away from friends and family. If you'd told me back then that I'd be where I am today, at the helm of this beautiful business that's, supported and nurtured over 10,000 women through our Bali retreats that are award-winning, I would have said you were bonkers. I really would have said, if a soothsayer had said that to me, I would have said, yeah, I can't imagine that. From where I'm sitting right now, I can't imagine that a possibility. I almost had no money left. I had never been an entrepreneur before. I had no experience running retreats at all. And there weren't really retreats around back then, so I didn't even know what that model looked like. Had no credentials about doing business in the third world. And I didn't know Bali. I didn't know Bali at all. I also had no list, so a zero customer list, no awareness. There was no awareness in the market of who I was. I was completely unknown, or of what I offered. And I was single and didn't know a song. So, that's a lot of things I didn't have. But I did have one thing. And the one thing that I had was a growth mindset. So I'm really excited to talk to you today in this mini workshop in the next 10 minutes, and I hope that it may help you to overcome those things that seem insurmountable. Or, we always stand at the start of a mountain looking up thinking, wow, that's a long way to get to, but having the right mindset will help you get there or not. And it can enable us to do things like, reach our dreams or destroy them. It allows us to find happiness and contentment in our life, both in our business life and our personal life, or never to reach it at all. To like who we are by having the right mindset, or to remind ourselves of our shortcomings and be our absolute biggest critic, where nothing we do ever measures up and we're always battling with that internal critic. You know, that voice in our head, we have the inner coach, I call it, and the inner critic. You know, having the wrong mindset means we listen to that inner critic, and it completely takes us off our path and derails our well-intentioned plans, because we're saying, instead of I can, I can, I can't, you can't, you can't, you can't. So simply, what I'm trying to demonstrate is the mindset you choose, and it's a choice, rules our behavior, and predicts our success. It's one of the biggest predictors of your success. And that's why I love talking about it so much, because it needs to work hand in hand with business. You'll hear Trent and I talk a lot about strategy. Strategy's our jam. We love doing things properly, but we also know the importance of mindset. So whenever I see those discussions around, is it mindset or is it strategy? I think it's not an or discussion, it's an and they both go like hand in glove together. So it's something that I just want to impress on you today, to start thinking about, what are you doing to make sure that you're priming your mindset? I talked about 14 years ago how I had a growth mindset back then. You can't just rely on that. You have to continually be, like anything, working that muscle of a growth mindset. And the same thing, if you've got a fixed mindset, which I'll come to talk to in a bit, the same thing. It's activating the growth mindset and changing where you're at. Carol Dweck did a really famous study years ago on these two mindsets. So, you know, everyone falls into one bucket, whether it's a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. I'd love to know in the chat box, so I'm not fire hosing you with information. Talk to me as well. Have you heard about growth and mindset before? So can you answer me, number one, have you heard of a growth or a fixed mindset before? Let me know in the chat box. Hey, and Dunedin, awesome. That's where I went to uni. So have you heard of a growth or fixed mindset before? And second question for you, I want to know today, do you know which one you are? You've heard of it before? Great, awesome. I don't know why I'm not getting this. Here we go, I can see the comments now. Yeah, heard of them, great. Do you know which one you have? Very familiar, growth versus fixed. We are growth. Okay, great. Great. Fluctuate between both, yeah. That can happen too, because in different parts of your life, you might be fixed in, say, work, where you're feeling very confident and never afraid to fail, and then in personal life, it might be different. So luckily, wherever you may fall, you have the power to change it. Scientists prove that our brains are plastic, you know, neuroplasticity. We have the ability to change the wiring, to change the makeup of our brain. So if you identify, as I start to go through, what a fixed mindset is or a growth mindset, don't get disheartened if it's not the right mindset that you want. The beauty is you have the power to change it through consistent action. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So what I've done just there is planted the seed of this mindset called fixed and growth. So those two principles. For the next couple of minutes, I'm going to help you identify which one you are through talking through each of those, and then how to cultivate the one you need. So what are the traits of each? Let's talk about a fixed first. A fixed mindset is where you believe you have a fixed level of intelligence. So, you know, you strive for success, which is great, but you keenly avoid failure at all costs. You don't want to be seen to make mistakes. You don't want to be seen to be a failure, because if you think about it, if someone believes they have a fixed level of intelligence, then what does that say about them if they're failing? They can't grow from that because it's a fixed level. So it will show them up to people. And that's their biggest fear, that they're not enough. And they don't want to be embarrassed. So people with this mindset have a real need and a hunger for approval. So they're looking outside of themselves for validation. It's not enough with them being their own judge and jury in terms of setting their goals and feeling like they've achieved. They need to get that external validation from their managers or from their customers or from their husbands or their wives or their friends or their peer network, whatever that looks like. That's a common trait of someone with a fixed mindset. And guess what they loathe more than anything? Can you guess? What is the one thing, and it's say a work perspective, that they just loathe more than anything? Have a drink while I wait for some comments to come through on that. They loathe feedback more than anything. They see it as criticism, and it's just harmful for them because, again, they think they've got someone said criticism. Yeah, absolutely. They think that they have a fixed level of intelligence. So if someone starts giving them feedback, that compromises that view that they have on themselves, where they feel they're not good enough because they don't believe they can grow from where they are at. So thinking through, that's a fixed mindset. A growth mindset is very much a mindset that thrives in change. It loves challenge, loves change. They see failure as a springboard for growth. So they love it. They're like, okay, this is an opportunity to learn. Okay, ouch, it might hurt a little bit, but how do I learn from this? These are the types of questions they ask themselves after they've had a failure or they've made a mistake. They exhibit a passion for learning, a real thirst for understanding things, a curiosity, and they believe that through effort and deliberate practice, they'll achieve success. So if you have a growth mindset and it's such a determinant of success, what can you do to enable this? Because you can have all of the strategies in the world. You can have the best business plan. You can have the most well-oiled strategies, ready to roll. But if you have a fixed mindset, you're just working against yourself. It's like walking into your own headwind. Like say you're in a bad sandstorm or, on a really windy day and you're walking up a hill. That's how it feels if you've got a fixed mindset. So your strategies might be working and, things are ticking over, but you're not in flow. And so in order to get in flow where it feels like the wind's on your back instead of on your face, you need to have that growth mindset. So you're setting yourself up to take risks, and that's how you leap forward. That's how you go after things that, take your breath away a little bit. But you're like, I'm going to try this. I'm going to go after that. I'm going to see what's on the other side of that door. And you give yourself permission to try. You don't know if it's going to work or not. It doesn't matter because you want to find out and you're curious. And so the glasses that you put on and to look at the world is one of curiosity and thirst for learning. And that's what drives you. So that's the stage that you want to get to. And that will lead to success in both your business life and your personal life. So the more you can activate that in your business life, that permeates and flows out into your personal life as well. So let's look at some strategies now to help cultivate it. Some practical things that you can start working on to really prime it, to activate it. Does that sound okay? And let me know if you've got any questions as I go along. But here's 6 things that we coach on to really help prime a winning growth mindset. Half are concerned with yourself and what you can do internally, and half are external of yourself and how this comes from others and also from your environment. So just think about that as I'm going through them. What are the ones that are internal and what are the ones that are external as well? And they're simple, they're not rocket science, but like anything, it's remembering these simple techniques and tools that you can then apply on a consistent basis. So I want to set you some homework at the end of this workshop. So the first one is to very much pay attention to what you say about yourself. Does anyone know that the number of negative thoughts, the percentage of negative thoughts we have? Just expressed as a percentage, what would you say if you were to tell me how many negative thoughts we would have in a day as a percentage? So from 0 to 100%, just while I have a little drink, I want you to type in the chat box, what percentage of your thoughts do you believe on any given day, on average, are negative? It might shock you, this answer. Got 70%, got 40%, got 80%. You guys are pretty close. Got 60%. So Gina, you are right, 70%. Can you believe that? We've got, and neuroscientists talk about a lot, we have what's called a negativity bias in our brain. Our brain's wired to protect us, to keep us free from harm, to keep us safe. So we have 70% of our thoughts are actually negative. And guess what? Often we don't even realize what's going on inside our head. And so this first point is very much around tuning in. So really tuning in to what your inner critic is saying to you, because like I said before, you've got an inner coach and you've got an inner critic. And we know we want to listen to the inner coach because that's the helpful one. The inner critic isn't. So being able to really pay attention to that and to catch ourselves when we're doing that. Whenever I'm tired, if I'm tired, when the start of the pandemic happened, when some stress is going on for me, I find and I catch myself with this voice, my inner critic, being dialed up a little bit much. So my strategy around that, because it never stays constant. You can be the most positive person in the world, you're still going to have an inner critic. And the key thing to being able to turn that volume down is being aware of it. And when you're aware of it, you've got two choices. Choice one, listen to it. Not helpful. Step two, to actually change it and to replace it every time you're doing it with something positive. You can't do this. Really? Based upon what? Yes, I can. Watch me, Oh, this is big and scary. Well, it's not really if I break it down step by step. So it's just thinking about it. And I always like to sort of personify these two people and just think, okay, well, what would my inner coach say? And the more times you keep returning to the positive, guess what happens? This voice becomes louder and it drowns out this voice. So give it a go. But homework for this point, because I love this particular piece of homework, is to just create one mantra that you can put on a sticky note and you can put on your mirror every morning while you're brushing your teeth. You look at it. So just some positive mantra that is tied to you being able to reach your dreams. So I have different ones I use. Sometimes it will be progress over perfection, done's better than perfect. I approve and back myself. Abundance flows freely through me. It depends what resonates for you. But just try some on for size. Louise Hay is a great person to Google if you don't know her already, and have a look at some positive affirmations. Just choose one, post-it note, put it on your mirror. Brushing your teeth every morning, it's habitual, right? You've got time when you're brushing your teeth. Look at that, say it out loud 3 times, because whatever you say, your mind will believe. So repetition is really important. And that's like anything, with any of these 6 things I'm going through. It's just choosing one and doing it well. Because the more you do it, then it becomes second nature. All right, number 2, stop seeking approval from others. If you've got a fixed mindset, the most important thing you can do here is, be your own judge and jury. Who are you taking advice from? Really look at that, because half the time the people you're taking advice from around doing business or going down this retreat entrepreneur path have never run a retreat, or they've never run their own business. Friends and family are so well-meaning. They want to keep you safe too. So like the negativity bias in your brain, these voices of dogma can be very, very strong too and can take you off your path. I have simply lost count of the number of beautiful women I've met over the years in our Bali retreats that didn't follow their dreams because of the influence of family and friends. And they get to a stage where they're frustrated about their life and they're like, I wish I hadn't listened for so many years. I started Escape Haven 3 years later than I wanted to because of dogma. So it's my biggest regret that I have. And so I'm always really hot on this topic. Don't let dogma, come in the way of you leading the successful path and realizing your retreat dreams, because you've got it. Don't listen to others that haven't walked that path. Listen to people that have and take advice from them. Third one, know your why. Do you know what I mean when I say know your why? Can anyone write in the chat box what that might mean? Know your why. Another excuse for a water stop while I get you guys to type. What does know your why mean? Just going to see if there's any messages here. Know your why. Okay, so I think there's a little bit of a delay. Why you want to host retreats? Absolutely. Your motivation? Absolutely. It's your reason for doing what you're doing. So, why are you doing this? What is your purpose? What is your ikigai behind this? Really being able to tap into why you're doing what you're doing. Who here knows why they're creating retreats? Really interested to know. If you do, please type in the chat box. But what is your why for doing retreats? I shared in the last masterclass for Trina and I, it's about 3 things. Our why is about freedom. So freedom from the corporate life and the shackles of convention and city life. Freedom to living a life on our own terms and being able to share that with our children, being able to bring them up in an environment with a beautiful culture and a beach lifestyle. Impact was our second one, being able to positively impact others to realize their best version, being able to positively impact the communities that we operate in, and being able to positively impact the people that worked for us through employment and amazing careers. And the third was financial freedom, because without financial freedom, we couldn't be sustainable business. So those were our 3 whys. Empowerment of women, beautiful. Freedom, knowing why you're doing helps you keep going when the suckers strike. I love that. Absolutely. Absolutely. So that is why it's so important, because when the rubber hits the road and we have some of those things that blindside us, knowing your why will allow you to remain true to your vision and to keep going and to continue activating that growth mindset. The more you can dig into that, the more you activate your growth mindset. And, that leads me on to number 4, facing your challenges head on. So really being able to reframe them when they happen. We're all going to face challenges. We're all going to face things that blindside us. Believe me, I'm saying this not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because when it does strike, which it will inevitably, it's how you look at something. It's the mindset that you that you put on, the mindset that you choose to use to respond to the situation that's created a challenge. Do you crumble? Do you give up? Or do you use it as an opportunity to say, okay, I'm going to step back from this for a minute, I'm going to dust myself off, and I'm going to say, and then I'm going to say, oh my gosh, okay, how did this happen? What are the learnings I can take from this? Because remember, again, growth mindset, a springboard for growth. You're springboarding from something that happened and you're growing from it. So how do you reframe that? One thing that I use is I go, whoa, this is an adventure. This is a challenge I'm taking on. COVID last year. This is a challenge. I'm pivoting the business. This is an adventure. And when you say something's an adventure, when you put that intention out there, how do you feel? This is an adventure. I'm putting on an adventure and I'm going for it. It's exciting, an adventure, isn't it? A challenge, oh, that's scary. But an adventure, just through that little tweak of reframing it, makes it a lot more exciting. And the 5th one is learn from the mistakes of others. So I wish in my time I'd had someone that had come before me and done retreats. So they could have let me know of all the big banana skins that they stepped on so I could avoid them. Um, and, I didn't have that luxury, but that's why I'm so passionate about the Retreat Academy and this Facebook group that we have and our training programs, because I can share my mistakes, my failures, my lessons, and my learnings, as it helps others have a smoother path through doing that. So that helps if you've got reluctance around, trying new things or making mistakes. Learn from other people's mistakes and you'll know what to avoid. And the last thing I wanted to say is just having a supportive environment. Be really mindful of who is around you, who is surrounding you, your community. Because we're the sum of the average of the 5 people we spend the most amount of time with, right? So are they supporting your dreams? Do they have a growth mindset? And are they, your cheerleaders or your critics? Are they the judges and the Muppets, in the box? Remember, for those people that watch the Muppets? Or are they the cheerleaders? And remember, with any of these, the 6 simple tips, it's what you do consistently that matters. So I'd love you to commit to just choosing one thing out of that list of 6 that you can do and committing to do it regularly, every day. Just thinking about having some time to activate that area. Because it's what you do consistently that will help you prime your mindset for success. And as I said, it's the biggest variable in your business and one of the biggest determinants of your success with retreats. So I'd just love to know, that's my 10-minute that went into 25-minute workshop. But I'd just love to know today, A, was that helpful? And B, what is your key takeaway and something that you are going to choose to work on? I'd just love to know in the comments. So was that helpful, and what is your biggest takeaway from today's session? There's a little delay here. Great, yes, fantastic. Yes, just what I needed to hear today. Yay, thank you. And what's your biggest takeaway today, guys? Just one thing. It doesn't have to be huge, it can be something small, but what is it? Affirmations every day, reminding me. Good. Sticky note on the mirror, awesome. Something easy to grab, right? It's something that won't take time. Yes, writing my mantra. Yay. Let me see more comments here. Time to step back and reflect. Absolutely. Yes, help you. Thank you, and reminded me of my why. Oh, good, Aaron. I'm so pleased. Awesome. All right, everyone. I am going to, my mind, I get to choose fixed or growth. Absolutely. I feel free. I'm successful. I'm amazing. Affirmations. Oh, I like that one. Very helpful. Thank you. Biggest takeaway for me is to regroup my support network. Absolutely. Again, you don't want to walk into the headwind. When you have your team behind you, you have your community behind you that's backing you, the wind will be on your back. So always think about, I love that analogy, is the wind on your back or is it on your face? And make sure whatever is on your face that's obstructing you, that you remove it, that you edit it, that you make a different choice. And then you'll step into that flow, because we've all got limited time, right? We've all got limited energy. So you want to make sure that you're moving with ease and that your success comes from a place of ease. You can be successful another way, which is hard grind, it's stress and failing health, etc. I know I've been there, but the better way to get there, the more fun, the more positive way, and the more sustainable way is from a place of flow, which is what I wish for all of you today. So thank you for joining me, everyone. Lovely to see you, and I'm glad you found that helpful. We will upload a copy of this into the Facebook group. All right, bye for now, everyone. See you.